Man, what's up? A lot of people not probably gonna like this video or share it, but man, enough is enough, man. So I want to sit for about 5 minutes and have a conversation, a deep conversation with the people that seem not to get the BLM, Black Lives Matter movement. The people that seem not to understand why so many people are angry, frustrated, upset, hurt, disappointed. The list just goes on and on. For the people that seem to be like, man, I'm tired of hearing about this. Black lives matter, all lives matter, and I truly agree with all lives matter. I do. But I want to have a conversation with the privileged, the people that just don't seem to get it. Just about 5 minutes, just deep conversation, you and me, or me and y'all. And share this video in case somebody may need to have this conversation. Just a brief video and straight to the point. So, y'all don't get it. But since y'all don't get it, let me ask you a question or a few questions, and we'll leave it at that. Since you or y'all don't get it, where do I begin? Have you ever been riding in your car? I'll start there. Have you ever been riding in your car and passed by a police officer or a patrol car, and you trying your best not to have eye contact with that officer? Do you know what that feels like? People that don't get it would not even understand that question. Do you know what it feels like to ride in your vehicle, pass by an officer, try your best not to give them eye contact, try your best to sit up, try your best to sit still, because you're afraid that you're going to look suspect? Do you know what that feels like? I'll wait. And the answer is probably no, I don't even know what you're talking about. You sound stupid. But my people understand what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Do you know what it feels like to walk in a public place and just get stared at the whole time you are there? Do you know what that feels like? To just walk in a store and within 20 seconds of you being in there, every employee have asked you, may I help you? But privileged folks gonna say, that's their job. My people understand what I'm saying. See, do you know what that feels like? Soon you walk through the door, this gentleman asks you, hey, can I help you? You say, oh, I'm just looking. The other employee just heard him ask you this, heard you say, I'm just looking, and still got to come down the aisle and say, hey, can I help you? I just told him, I'm just looking. Do you know what that feels like? And I'm not trying to get emotional, because I really am. Where do I begin? Do you know what it feels like to not get a job because the color of your skin? Wait. Do you know what that feels like? Better yet, own a job. Do you know what it feels like to not get a promotion or a position because of your skin? Do you know what that feels like? We can stay on the job topic. Do you know what it feels like to be on a job and you already are automatically deemed the dumbest person there because of your skin tone? Do you know what that feels like? Do you know what it feels like to be on a job? Your opinion don't matter. Your ideas don't matter. You have no voice. Just shut up and do your job because of who you are. Do you know what that feels like? I'll wait. Do you know what it feels like to be stereotype on a job? Because if you ever speak your opinion on something, do you know what that feels like? You just heard one of your coworkers curse the boss out, call them every name in the book except a child of God, excuse me. And then they say, oh, what's wrong with Jake, or what's wrong with Sarah? Oh, she's just a little upset. But the moment you say something, you are angry, you're upset. Why are you so hostile? Why are you so angry? You know why? Because of the color of your skin. Do y'all know what that feels like? That I just got to be quiet and shut up and not say nothing. Because if I speak up, then I'm raising eyebrows, then I'm getting out of line, then I'm this angry black man. Do y'all know what that feels like? Do you know what it feels like to be on a job and you getting screwed over and you getting all the dirty jobs, the more workload, everybody else is getting a cakewalk and they just messing over you and making you do all this dumb stuff, and then the moment you just ask about it, it's, man, what's the problem? Why are you so angry? Do y'all know what that feels like? It's just questions to the privilege. Do you know what it feels like where you and maybe 2 and 3 or 4 more of your friends or family can't be in a vehicle riding without looking suspect? Do you know what that feels like? See, privilege, y'all don't understand that. See, you can get in your car, you and your dad, 3 more homeboys, and run to the grocery store and you don't look suspect. But me, my dad, uncle, and maybe 2 of my homeboys can get in the vehicle and decide we're going to go to the grocery store and we look suspect if we make it without getting pulled over. Do you know what that feels like? Privilege? Do you know? Do you know? Do you know what it feels like to be riding down the street and a patrol car is behind you and your heart dropped to your stomach? My people know what I'm talking about, but do y'all know what I'm talking about? Do you know that feeling? Do you know what it feels like? You just riding down the street, an officer get behind you, and you are sweating bullets. Nervous, scared. Ain't done anything wrong. Registration is good. Insurance is good. Plates is good. Driver license is good. You have no criminal record, but you are nervous. Do you know what that feels like, privilege? Do you know? Do you know? Do you know what it feels like to walk towards a cash register in a store, and before you even get there, you see the look, the stare on the clerk's face, and you walk up and say, hello, how you doing? And it's automatic attitude. Do you know what it feels like? Do you know what it feels like to reach your hand out for a change after purchasing something and the money get dropped on the counter? Do you know what it feels like? Just asking. Just asking simple questions. Just asking simple questions. Do you know what it feels like to go jogging or take a walk through a high-end neighborhood and use a suspect? Do you know what that feels like? Do you know what it feels like to walk your dog or walking with your family or walking with your kids and you suspect? Officers are riding back and forth, keep making them the block because someone had called and said this strange person is not walking in my neighborhood. Do you know what it feels like? Do you know what it feels like to be walking through a parking lot and people glance at you and hurry up and hit their alarm, lock their doors, raise the windows up, grab their purse, clench their purse, grab their kids? Do you know what that feels like? Do you know what that feels like? Do you know what it feels like to be walking in a public place, a mall, a parking lot? And when you're approaching people, you have to put this big old smile on and say, hey, how you doing? For they won't feel like you're going to eat them. For they won't feel threatened. That hurts so bad. Y'all don't understand this privilege. Do you know what it feels like when you walking and you got to be you got to put on this whole persona and like, hey, how y'all doing? For these folks won't feel threatened. Do y'all know what that feels like? I'm asking. Do you know what it feels like to be on a job and you pays attention to everything and certain people can do certain things and say certain things, call out when they want to, but the moment you do it, it's a problem, it's a write-up, or your job is threatened? Do you know what it feels like? Do you know what that feels like? Do you know what it feels like to be on a job and you bring something to your superior attention and they still justify it and basically tell you, hey, don't worry about that? Certain people can do certain things. Do you know what that feels like? Oh, wait. Do you know what it feels like to be doing a online application? You didn't call the people. The job sound promising. They say, okay, we're going to shoot you the application. You sound like a great candidate. You fill out the application. Then you get down to the part where they say, your race? What race are you? Do you know what it feels like to be like, you know what? I'm just not even doing the application because I know I'm not going to get it. Do you know what that feels like? Do you know what it feels like to walk into a place of business to do this interview and you look around the room and 3-4 more people are interviewing for the same position, but they the opposite color, and you automatically say, you know what? I'm wasting my time. Do you know what that feels like? Do you know what that feels like? Do you know how it feels to be you and a couple more of your friends or family can't just hang out maybe close to the side of a road, or a couple of y'all are parked at the parking lot or in a park and y'all just out there just talking without the officers pulling up saying, what is y'all doing? Do y'all know what that feels like? Do you know what that feels like? These just simple questions. These just simple questions. That's all. These just simple questions. Do you know what it feels like to walk in, I guess, a high-end store that things are very expensive, and because of who you are, when you walk in, it's just like, you get these looks like, what are you doing here? You can't afford this. Do you know what it feels like? Do you know what it feels like to be on a job and everybody overlooks you, overlooks your opinion, overlooks your idea, and then they find out how educated you are and be like, oh, I never knew that you had all that going on. I never knew you had them credentials. I never knew you had that degree and this degree. I never knew you had this kind of education background. I never knew you had this kind of work experience. Why? Because of the color of my skin? The way I look, the way I talk, the way I walk, the way I act? Do y'all know what that feels like? To not just be accepted because of who you are? Do you know what it looked like to walk in a place of business and everybody's terrified of you? Do you know what that feels like? Do you know what it feels like to do a phone interview over the phone and you have to almost come up with a whole different accent or tone for they won't recognize that you are black? For you can have any chance at least getting a job? Do you know what that feels like, that you can't be you and be given a fair chance? But y'all don't know what this about. Y'all don't know what this about. Do you know what it feels like to get pulled over for a traffic violation, maybe something like a failure to put on your signal light, and you don't even know if you're going to make it out this traffic stop dead or alive or in jail because you know you didn't do anything? Do you know what that feels like? See, y'all can approach the officer. Y'all not worried in a traffic stop. But we are. But we are. Do you know what it feels like to get pulled over for maybe, like I said, failure to yield or a failure to put your signal light on, and now you face down on the ground. Your car's getting searched. Your trunk is getting searched. The K9 dogs are out searching your car, and all I did was forgot to put a signal light on. Do y'all know what that feels like? Do you know what it feels like to be in a traffic stop and it just shut up? I asked the question. You don't talk to me. Do y'all know what that feels like? Y'all are able to talk back to the officer. Go back and forth. Yeah, we just got to shut the hell up. Do y'all know what that feels like? That I just got to swallow my pride? Because if I explain what happened, I may have a bullet in my head or a knee in my neck. Do you know what that feels like? Do you know what it feels like to make a video like this? Do you know what it feels like to even make a video like this? Privilege may say, I see no need for it. I'm going to leave you with this story. True story. Of course, people know I am a truck driver. Last year, I was working for a food delivery company. Pretty much we go to different restaurants and places of business and deliver food. Some we go to early in the morning before the restaurant or the establishment open. We have a key, we have the code to the alarms, etc. I was delivering, and let me paint the picture to you. I was delivering, and I'll say the name. I was delivering to a Dairy Queen one morning. About 2, 3 in the morning, pitch dark, early in the morning. I'm in an 18-wheeler. I'm painting a picture for you. I'm in an 18-wheeler. Big 18-wheeler. Company name all across the truck. Got the company uniform on, my full name, Terrence Cotton, on it. I go to this place I've never been. So it's my first time going there. So as I'm going in the door, I'm on the phone with my supervisor. He explained to me, where is the alarm? Because I've never been there. So he walking me through, I'm walking through the store, the restaurant, on the phone with him. He's telling me where the alarm at. I find the alarm, but by the time I find the alarm goes off. Which I still put in the code, disengage the alarm shut off. So, I proceeded to do my job. Go to the trailer. We call it two-wheeler. Some people call them dollars, whatever. But we'll go to the trailer, load up the two-wheeler, bring the product in, place it in the designated location where it go, whether it be the freezer, the cooler, closet, whatever. So, I do my job. Well, started doing my job. I go make about 3, 4 trips. About the 4th time I come out, a police officer had showed up in the parking lot. I didn't think none of it. I'm not biased. I'm not racist. It is what it is for me. I'm thinking he doing his job, just patrolling. As I go in, come back out, another squad car pull up. I'm like, oh, that look kind of strange. But oh well, I don't care. I'm continuing to do my job. I go in, I come back out. By that time, it was like 5 cars out there. They had then some parked on the back of the building, some parked in the front, some parked on the side. Basically, the whole building was surrounded. As I come back out again, that's when all of them get out, and one officer yells and says, "Sir, stop what you're doing." Me personally, once again, I don't. It's nothing to me. So I'm like, yeah. All together, it's probably like 7 officers, and they literally had a circle around me. Once again, 3 o'clock in the morning, pitch dark. Pitch dark. The officers, they approached me, they made a circle around me. Seriously. True story. The officer said, well, we got a call because the alarm went off. I said, yes, sir. I went in. I never been here before. I tripped the alarm going in, but I got it turned off, so it's no big deal. The officer say, what are you doing? Once again, people, my big old 18-wheeler, big rig, big truck, whatever y'all want to call it, is sitting outside. They watch me go in and out the store delivering food. And the question was, what are you doing? Got to have better black sense, though. Delivering food. The officer say, what else is going on? Once again, better black sense. I'm not going to blow up. Nothing, man. I'm just doing my job. Oh. Another officer say, why is the doors wide open? We keep them propped open, sir, because it's easier to go in and out without having to open and close the door every time we come in and out. It's faster that way. Anybody else here with you? Well, far as I know, no employees were there. I'm by myself. I'm driving the truck. I mean, if somebody in there, I don't know. Oh. What's your name? My full name is on my uniform, Terrence Cotton. I said, excuse me, sir, what is your name? I say, sir, is this necessary? Yes, it's necessary because I'm doing an investigation. I'm like, well, my name is Terrence Cotton. Who you work for? Once again, privilege, y'all don't understand. But let me continue on. I'm like, I work for the company here. It's on my uniform. It's all across the truck. Do you have a driver license? I'm like, in my head, I'm like, well, I'm quite sure this company is not going to let me drive this big old 18-wheeler without some kind of driver license. But anywho, I'm like, yeah, I do have one. Well, where is it? I'm like, well, it's in my truck, in my wallet. Well, that is me. He said that is a crime because I'm supposed to keep ID on me. I said, well, my ID is on me, but it's in the truck. I keep it in the truck because I don't want to drop it at a location or a store or something, and then I get pulled over down the road and I'm driving. Well, you need to go get it. Privileged people, y'all don't understand. Yes, sir. As I walk to the truck, they all follow me to the truck, get my driver's license out, give it to them. And of course, they do little things or whatever, check it. And I'm asked the officer, I'm like, officer, you said you came out because the alarm got tripped. You see what I'm doing, so is all this necessary to run my name and this and that? Shut up. I'm doing an investigation. Basically, make a long story short, they left except 2 officers. The 2 officers stayed there, watched me the whole time until I got through delivering this food at this place. Trailed me 3 blocks in my 18-wheeler, 3 blocks down the road to the next establishment, sat there, and then decided to leave. And I know y'all probably saying that was a boring story. But what I'm saying is that if the color of my skin was different, the conversation would have went, how you doing, sir? We got a call. The alarm went off, but clearly you're doing your job. I call it in and say, delivery driver tripped the alarm. Moral of the story is that they were trying to get me out of my character to justify what they was going to do to me. That's all it was about. They were trying to get me out of my character. Clearly they knew what I was doing. But they were trying to get me out of my character. So when they do something to me, they can justify it. So my black people have better black sense. And to my privilege, do you understand? Do you know what it feels like?